All right, guys, we've had a few questions about the new slipper eliminator plate and interference on the transmission. So I have one built. We're going to go back it up and we're going to Tarantino this stuff, and hopefully it makes sense. So let's first pull this off here. Okay. So we have our spur mounted to the slipper eliminator plate here with the 3 flathead screws, and then a bearing in here to help center it up. We had a spacer here, or if you don't want to use the bearing, you can always not use the bearing and then use the spring and the nylock nut there. I did space out the slipper eliminator plate with one 3mm spacer that comes in the slave shaft pack. I have those all out here. And then also the 1mm spacer piece, 2mm spacer piece as well, to get that away. Get the slipper eliminator plate away from this shaft here. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. There you go, right there, just like that. Okay, but we'll just keep going. So this is a flipped transmission case. So if it looks backwards, don't worry about it. It is, but if you follow the same procedure, you'll get the job done and you'll be right as rain. So flange bearings with the flange inward towards the inside of the transmission case. Okay, so we're going to lay it down like that. And then in the transmission case itself, we have the 511-4 bearings here. And then we have the gear shaft, basically the top gear shaft or spur gear shaft with the drive gear with a collar. And then that is pounded into place with the pins set in there. There you go. That can go in first. And then this guy here, this setup for the output shaft, the pin is going to be on the backside, like so, like that, and then a 3mm spacer will go into that place there. Okay, so that's what goes in there. Obviously you want to grease this properly. We're not going to grease this just because this is part of a kit itself. And then we'll just drop that in there like so. Okay, let's get the screws going here. Just tight enough with the electric driver, but not too crazy tight, because you don't want to strip out those threads in the transmission case itself. One more for good measure. Just get them kind of down where I want them. Tighten up with a hand driver. Sorry, tracking off to the side there. Okay, feel that. Can be just a little tighter. There we go. That feels nice and smooth, obviously without any grease. It's not going to turn awesome, but again, for demonstration purposes. So we have the 2mm and 3mm spacers on there. Let's just say we don't use the bearing. Yeah, there it is. We don't use the bearing. So then we just get that plate keyed on there properly. There you go. You can drop the spring in there and throw this nylock nut on there. Bingo, done. Okay. And you see the spacing there, away, and you're good to go. Now, if you want to get this tightened up, the spur tightened up to the motor plate due to whatever type of motor you're running, you can cut this output shaft with a larger gear in the transmission. You can cut that off there, just as long as there is enough engaging into the flange bearing so the gear shaft doesn't wobble. Okay, so you can do that and use less spacers to take the slipper eliminator plate, get it closer to the actual motor plate itself. Okay, cool, good deal.